Hey guys, Seer coming at you today in Raid Shadow Legends, this time with a champion guide for the Queen of Nukes in Raid Shadow Legends. It's none other than Seer, the Karma Burner herself. She can make waves of enemies absolutely just disintegrate before your very eyes, and we're still getting a bunch of requests. I'll show you a few shoutouts here to kick off this video like we always do here on the channel. If you have any champion guide requests, go ahead and let me know in the show notes below. What I have done, I think with like only one or two champions so far, is if I have a very recent guide already recorded and edited for the main channel, I'm going to show it here, and that's going to be the case on Seer. I'm actually really happy with this content that you're about to watch, because we go through some of the maybe the misnomers about Seer and the mistakes that people make when building her, where they're really not extrapolating all the value in terms of damage, just raw damage that they possibly can out of that Karma Burn. So before we get to the show here, the driver, or the Draver one says, please show the Seer built. Okay. Dimitri says, how you doing, Ash? I just pulled these champions. He got a Contra, a Miscreated Monster, a Lorne the Cutter. All three of them we have done guides on already here on the channel. We're starting to really add up. We got around in the neighborhood of 80 champion guides so far. Not too bad. And all the guides are right here on the channel. The next thing out of his mouth, right? I love it. Seer or Seeker next. I have not done a Seeker yet, but we will do one soon. But for now, let's go ahead and check out Seer. I can't for the life of me. I thought the guy tweeted me, but I could be wrong. He might have emailed. I have no idea, but somebody asked me a long kind of few paragraphs with screenshots about Seer. And it struck me that I have not released a Seer guide in a couple years. And there's a lot of ways that this guy, again, I don't want to call, I forgot the name anyway. I forgot the actual screenshots. I was looking, I found this one. I found the Drives VR says, please show the Seer built. So I cannot see anything. I found that at least. The guy made a lot of mistakes, and he was wondering why he wasn't getting the damage out of his Seer that everybody else was that he saw on YouTube and such. And I figured we kind of go through all of those mistakes, and maybe you're making one, maybe you're making none, but at least show you the way that I prefer to build Seer, and also damage test quite a bit. We're going to damage test with no masteries. We're going to damage test with different tier 6 masteries. We're going to talk about, a few very common mistakes as well. So let's get to and blessings, because blessings are super important. Let's start there, guys. On your, and I need to do this too, so I'm gonna go to my wish list. Where is my? So where's the wish list again? Oh, right in the freaking first thing, Ash. Okay, she is there. We really want Seer to be on our wish list. I know it's only a 2x chance. I know, I get it. It's stupid, but we want Seer to have blessings. Ideally, a 6-star awakening. I don't have one. I have a 2-star, awakening, but a 6-star awakening on Seer is one of the nastiest things in the game, and we'll tell you why in just a moment here. First, let's get to our Seer. So, by the way, on my Seer build, you will see, by the way, no masteries here, so we're going to kind of go through the offense side together. But you'll see the first thing to notice here is that even though I'm certainly endgame and have great gear on other champions, I've used the same gear on Seer for a long time now. I've never really upgraded too much, and it still gets the job done just fine. There's a lot of Seers out there, especially if you look like end-to-end game, with 350, 360, 370 crit damage on them. So we're really low in the crit damage department. Of course, we can get some of that boosted up vis-a-vis masteries, depending on where we go. But it's nothing crazy, okay? Let's look at her kit really quickly here. She has an A1 knockout ability, extra 20% chance of granting extra turn when she's booked. It's a 3.8 multiplier, but keep in mind her base attack is 1145. It doesn't scale that well. And frankly, I ignore the attack stat when I'm building Seer, so that would be mistake number one, is my man was rocking a Seer attack percentage on her chest. He had attack on all the ring and on the banner. Listen, there's nothing wrong with going a little bit of attack on this champion, just because we're going to be building with a lot of crit rate and a lot of crit damage anyway. So, getting a nice hit on the A1 can be helpful. It does deal a significant amount of damage. So it's a nice to have. And as a matter of fact, I think I do have attack on my ring. But that's it. Everywhere else is going to be HP, because then we just care about her survivability for the most part. There's really no extra reason in her kit at all, because the A3, there's no scalability whatsoever based on attack. So attack is not a priority. There's really no reason that you should have attack percentage on this champion's chest. Unless, again, you're really trying to knock him out with that knockout A1. Clan banner, her A2. This is mistake number 2 that he made. And this is a big one. Anybody who makes this one out there, this should be the first thing that you fix. So you'll see this. Increased crit rate on all allies for 2 turns, 30%. But it's not just her A2, it's also a problem with Mausoleum Mage. Because Mausoleum Mage also brings 30% increased crit rate, increased defense, and block debuffs. Why am I mentioning Mausoleum Mage? Because he's the #1 preferred partner with Seer.
It'll take some adjustment now that I know the bishop's gonna be there, but I'll beat her to the punch.
I? What about we?
Why are you wearing the hairnet? You're bald.
He's a fairly accessible epic champion, at least he's not a legendary, who brings 3 unique buffs on 1 ability, right? So it's all about charging up Seer with as many buffs as we possibly can to take full advantage of the Karma Burn ability. It scales quite a bit for each extra buff that you have on your team. So whether you're because he even said in the email, he said in the whatever the message, he was like, yeah, so you might be wondering why I have her built at 70% crit rate. And of course I was. And then he said, well, it's not because of her A2, it's because I have her being set up by Mausoleum Mage. So he's going to put the increased crit rate. That allows me to just focus on crit damage only. And then she's going to nuke the heck out of him and have a 100% crit rate because of the 30% crit rate. And I'm like, but read the A3, dude. Read the A3.
Forget that, man. You're evil.
Remove all buffs from all allies and enemies, comma, then attacks all enemies, right? So we're not taking advantage of increased crit damage, increased crit rate, increased anything. She has no buffs when she's attacking all enemies because she's removing them. So we do not want 30% less crit rate, whether you're cycling from the A2 to the A3 to take advantage of her own increased crit rate, or whether you're setting her up with somebody like Mausoleum Mage, okay? That's mistake number 2 on this champion. And of course, again, we want as many buffs as possible. That's why little things, even like somebody in an immunity set, someone in a stone skin, somebody in a shield set, a bolster set, is really going to help activate more damage from Seer. I would always run at least 1 champion in a shield or bolster set alongside Seer. We have Mausoleum Mage ran in that fashion. Mistake number 3 that he was making is the setup for Seer. We all know that Seer needs to go last on your team, right? All the buffers need to go before her. All the debuffers need to go before her. But he was running a team, I forgot exactly who he was running, but it was Mausoleum Mage was the main buff provider. And then it was Seer, and then it was like, you know, a few other support champions, Archmage Helmet, and a couple other support champions, maybe like an Allure, I think it was a Fire Knight run, right? But he wasn't getting through the waves. And I said, well, where's your debuffer, man? Where's your debuffer? And he's like, oh, you don't need debuffers with Seers. I didn't think you needed a debuffer with Karma Burn. I'm like, well, why wouldn't you need a debuffer? Like, you know, they're not removing all debuffs, just all buffs. So yes, setting up Seer with a debuffer, it might sound obvious to a lot of you guys, but it really matters, you know? And I can kind of see, she's just like such a unique champion that I can kind of see where you're just like, and she still does a ton of damage without debuffs, to be clear, just not as much. And I'll prove that to you guys. We'll do a quick run with and without a debuffer for the enemy team. Again, she's bringing Weaken, so she's bringing a debuff of her own. A big version of Weaken is actually really great, so you can set things up even if you can't. You might be saying, Ash, but like, I can't get enough buffs and have a debuffer on the team. That's why a champion like Lydia is amazing. She brings both, but we'll talk more about that in a bit. Blessings. Crushing Rend all the way on this champion. Regardless, I mean, I don't think there's even any other choice out there. Of course, you can do whatever you want to do, but if you want to maximize your damage, and let's talk about why this is so freaking powerful if you get it to 6 stars. Let's just go all the way down. Each hit will ignore a percentage of the target's defense. We'll ignore 1% defense for every 10 levels. Right now, I'm at 1 star is 1% defense for every 50 levels. Then I get a little extra attack. You get crit damage 20% at level 4. But look at this, guys. 1% for every 10 levels. Heck, these mobs have like 350 levels. That's insane. I've seen like people take their Seer from doing like, I don't know, 1.3 million damage to like 2.2 million just off of getting that 1 blessing. It's nasty. It's insane. So just put her on your wish list and just keep your fingers crossed. What can I say? You know, but you will not be seeing that here, but boy, is that amazing. All right, let's talk masteries. Before we pick out the offensive masteries and talk about really the mistake of not going with the proper ones, let's run her without any offensive masteries first. And then again, we'll go ahead and waste our gems so you don't have to.
You can try it if you want.
And we'll compare the different options, right? So we do have speed on the boots. We have HP percentage, again, on the chest. We just care about survivability, really. We don't need any attack. Crit damage on the gauntlets. We have a savage gear on her. And we have crit damage gear. So I really love running savage and crit damage. I suppose you could run savage and cruel to get a little bit extra ignore defense. Ignore defense does really well against other champions in this game. We have on the banner accuracy, I'm sure. And then we have crit damage and attack. I guess an obvious mistake would be as well not running her with enough accuracy. And again, when we have a little extra accuracy here from the support tree, but I think I'd like a little bit more than 2.7. 2.7 is going to be fine for what we're doing because we're actually not going to be removing buffs because we're going to be doing dungeon waves. But for Doom Tower, a lot of those champions are fast and they'll have buffs before you go. We would actually want this to be quite a bit higher, probably around 370 for the higher stages of Doom Tower hard. So we'll go ahead and make that change as well. I wonder what I did because I used to have her higher accuracy for Doom Tower, obviously. I use her in Doom Tower. Anyway, guys, I digress. We have crit damage, obviously, on the amulet. Let's go ahead and give her a run here without any offensive masteries. So I'm just going to take her into Ice Golems 10. And this is the main team that I'm using in Stage 10. Seer activation team, and then Walking Tomb Drang and Wither. Ah! I don't have it on, I don't have the AI doing, here we go. So this is going to be with the debuffer setting Seer up. So I'm going to come in here. Going to land the debuffs, decrease defense and weaken on the enemy team. It doesn't matter what we do with Walking Tomb Drang. Going to come in here, place and increase defense on everybody. And then going to slow it down. Take a look at the damage here that we're doing. 719 to 860. Let's run it one more time. So 719 to 860 roughly. You know, those are the two numbers that I saw at least in terms of the high and the low. And we're going to do the same thing here. And then we're going to back out. And again, 650 to 750 or so. We're going to back out, edit team. And now first things first, we're going to put Mausoleum Mage in. Now we no longer have a debuffer on the team. Okay? And again, some of you guys, I never know in videos like this. You never know. But I saw that guy doing it. So I figured some other people might be doing it, not running a debuffer. Because this is the same team. Same number of buffs on my team. Once Mausoleum Mage goes, you'll see right here. Same number of buffs, but we're not able to kill anybody because there's no debuffs. So there we go, right? So having a debuffer is important to maximize the damage. If you don't need it, you don't need it, you know? Let's go ahead and put Lydia back in, and we'll come back. Let's see how much more damage we can get depending on what we choose as our masteries, okay? So, recently used first. Go to Seer. Now, most importantly here, guys, and let me push myself out of the way, because this is super... Masteries are really, really important on this champion. So think about it. We need the crit rate, obviously. We'll take the extra crit damage, right? We definitely want to pick up Heart of Glory, increase damage inflicted by 5% when attacking with full HP. Now, these numbers don't sound high, right? 5%. But we're doing like 600,000 damage or more, you know? So yeah, it's really going to add up quite a bit. We're going to pick up a Whirlwind of Death, increase speed by 6 for each enemy killed by this champion. Just be careful of this mastery. You can screw everything up if you make her faster than the people who are setting the table with all the buffs or debuffs, you know? So just be careful with this one. But it's still nice to have. Increased damage inflicted by 8% on the first hit on each enemy. Ruthless Ambush is going to be a must-have. That's a massive damage increase. Now, you can go Opportunist. You notice that I'm running Prince Kymar as a reset champion. Well, if I can set the table and kind of manage my team accordingly, I could potentially have everybody under a sleep debuff, and I could get that extra 12% damage. But because I don't have my team built that way right now, I think I'm breaking that sleep with somebody, with maybe Lydia. Either way, I'm going to Wrath of Slain instead, okay? I'm just basically using that as a way to get down here for a kill streak Increase damage inflicted by 6% for each enemy killed by this champion. Stacks across each round. What that's going to do is make the second wave a little bit easier to kill than the first wave, which is great. You know, we don't want any of those failures. And then we're going to start out with War Master. So now we have War Master as our tier 6. Bring it down, also super, super important. Increases damage inflicted by 6% when attacking targets with higher max HP. It's almost always going to be the case. Always going to be the case against these mobs. They have tons of HP. All right, so now we have her with War Master. Let's check to see what the damage differential is. Now, again, War Master, I want to be clear here, is going to help you out more against the actual bosses, right? So if you're really itching for extra damage from her A1 vis-a-vis War Master against bosses, then hey, nothing wrong with going that route, especially if you're already easily killing all the mobs. So of course, we always say this on the channel, but every account is different, every situation is different. Just trying to give you guys a barometer on how to maximize damage on waves right now. So I'm gonna get Mausoleum out of there. Now we have War Master on her, along with all those other masteries, right? So let's see what we can do here. I'm gonna keep myself in this corner. Let's make myself a little bit smaller. Let's see what we can do here. So it was like 700-ish, the damage. Well, you guys remember. Okay, so again, coming in with this buff. And let's slow it down and see now. We're looking at 900 to 1.1 million. So quite a bit more with War Master. Let's reset and compare the second wave as well. So we have the debuffs. We have, so man, impressive numbers, I have to say, right? Let's try this round. Here she goes. That was a weird one. It was like 500,000 to like 800,000. So let's go ahead and go on to ignoring more defense and Helm Smasher. Because this, well, you guys can be the judge. So we'll go to the Masteries. Going to do the same exact thing. Going to waste some gems here. Reset. Grab the same accuracy Masteries. Come down the same thing that we did. Grab Evil Eye. Come down to Master Hexer. That will help with the weaken against bosses and stuff like that. We'll come down. Grab again. Crit rate. Crit damage. Heart of Glory. Whirlwind of Death. Ruthless Ambush. Come down with Wrath of the Slain. And again, Kill Streak, bring it down. This time we're going to go Helm Smasher. We'll keep it with Blood Shield as well. All right, so going right back to it here. Now we have Helm Smasher, ignoring more defense. This is... So we didn't lead off with the A2 in there, Chimera, but it's not going to matter either way. Here we go, and it's going to be the moment of truth again. What are we looking at this time? 1 to 1.3. 1 million to 1.3 million. You see the difference that these masteries make compared to the first run? It's a lot of extra damage, guys. A lot of extra damage. And I forgot the guy who I was talking to. I forgot exactly what he was... I forgot exactly what he was using. He was using some of these masteries, but a couple of them, like Ruthless Ambush, for example, he didn't have Ruthless Ambush. Man, that's a lot. You're leaving 8% of millions of damage off the table, you know? It's a lot. 8,000 damage, potentially, or more. So we're going to come back in again. Helm Smasher. 800 to 1.3 million again. So by far the best so far, Helm Smasher. Now we're going to compare it to Flawless Execution with extra crit damage. Now, kind of a spoiler alert here. In my testing, I've done a lot of testing with Seer. I found that Flawless Execution, I found that Helm Smasher is the best, excuse me. But I think that Flawless Execution is very close in terms of wave damage. Again, I probably should just be cutting this part out, but you guys don't mind chilling with me a little bit longer, do ya? Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do Bring It Down again. Come over with Blood Shield, and this time we'll get Flawless Execution, thus increasing our crit damage to 294 now. So 294 crit damage, and here we go again. These poor Ice Golem mobs, man, they're going to be sick of dying here. So here we go. Again, setting the table, coming in, A2, And high like the moon. Harrier.
When I was a kid.
Hi.
Harrier. Okay, A2. And here we go. So 1.1, it's very close to Helm Smasher, right? I saw like 1 million to 1.3 million or so on that. Was that what you guys saw as well? So very, very close on the Flawless and Helm Smasher. Let's go with increased defense, and let's do this one. Slow it down. 900-ish, around 900. Guys, I hope you found this video helpful. As I was saying here, I'm going to show you, this is Doom Tower Hard for 102 here. I just want to show you the main team that I use as my Seer activation team for Doom Tower, because this video is especially relevant when we talk about Doom Tower floors, because there are no bosses. Thus, I would definitely stick with Helm Smasher. I would go War Master if you're already killing everybody easily anyway. You guys can see, no problem with these waves. The biggest thing about these Doom Tower floors is that we want to make sure that we're going faster than the other mobs, right? Because the speed can certainly increase the higher that you get. But you can see this team is really good. And again, every time that we get through another wave, it increases our odds at killing everybody in the next wave, right? Because we're getting all those extra mastery damage buffs from killing Wrath of Slain or whatever. So guys, I hope, again, some of you found this video helpful. Let me make myself bigger so I can give you a sign off here. Appreciate you guys watching until the end. If there's any other champions that you guys are having any sort of confusion around building, please go ahead and let me know, and I'm happy to do an updated guide on them as well. Congratulations if any of you out there have a 6-star Blessing Ascended Seer, because I am super, super jealous. Guys, thank you for watching till the end, and as always, take care, guys.